Good afternoon, everybody, and thank you for joining this webinar today. The webinar today is going to cover streamlining your fulfillment process with integrated EDI in SalesPad. A few housekeeping things before we get kicked off. There's a question box below, so you should see that in the meeting. Type any of your questions in there. In the very end, we're going to circle back and stick around for a little bit to answer those. We're also going to post this recording of this video on our YouTube channel and our events page on our website, where you can also find other webinars in the future to sign up for. So to get right into it today, I'm going to jump into our agenda. So the agenda today really is to start off first with our partnership with SPS Commerce, who is the EDI of choice for SalesPad. We're also going to cover some common challenges for customers that come to us. So come to us looking for help with EDI, looking for solutions for that. We're also going to just dive into the integration that we've built to SPS Commerce. So going over some of the key benefits, some of the features, what's down the line on our roadmap, and those sort of things. And then lastly, a high-level demo just to sort of give you an intro into what the solution does. And then if you need a more advanced demo, we'll put up some information at the end on how you can get that. So first off, I want to talk about our partnership with SPS Commerce. So this is something to give you a little bit of background on, why we decided to partner with SPS Commerce. For years, we've lived in the realm of sales order processing, purchasing, inventory management. That's been, what we do. We know it well. We've been in the business for over 10 years and have over 1,200 customers in that industry. A lot of customers came to us with EDI needs, saying that we need help with EDI. What do you guys do in that realm? And we always said nothing. We stay away from it. You can find somebody and integrate that into Dynamics GP. When we were a couple years ago, we ran into SPS Commerce at a show and learned a little bit more about them and what they do, and just realized that it was a good fit for what they cover. So they're the EDI experts. They've been in the industry for a long time. They know that industry well, and we know ours well. So the partnership was really good as far as letting them handle the dirty EDI details, and we'll handle the application integration side. And we're going to cover both of those things. So again, we've been partnering with them and building this integration since 2014. So we've just been refining it, adding new features, bringing customers on board, and it's in a really good spot right now. This is the only EDI solution designed specifically for SalesPad users. So if you're a current SalesPad user, this tool was built with you in mind. It integrates into many of our key features, so workflow, those sort of things, and it's embedded right in our SalesPad Desktop product. So it provides a really seamless experience for you as a user, someone that's already used to using SalesPad. You know what workflow is, you know all of our features, so it's just a nice, easy transition. And we wanted to leverage the largest network in the industry. So if we're going to do it, we want to go with the best, the company that has the most connections, the company that's suited to really handle customers as they scale and grow their business. And that kind of transitions me into the next slide. A couple of key things I want to highlight on this slide are just the sheer numbers of size of SPS Commerce. So if you look at the top here, 60,000 trading partners that they have connected to. So what that means for you is if there's somebody that you need to connect to, chances are there's a bunch of other companies and SPS has already built that connection out for you. You're not usually going to find someone, it's probably going to be pretty rare that you're the first one that needs to integrate with a trading partner. They've already built that all out. In the bottom is another one I want to look at, over $1 trillion in orders annually. So the sheer volume of what they can support, how fast they can keep up with the trading partners, it's going to be able to scale with your business. So common challenges, I want to cover some things that, when someone comes to us and say this is what we struggle with EDI, or even as we release this integration when we're doing sort of discovery on pain points, things that our clients bring up. So the first off is the support, quality, and responsiveness from their current EDI providers. When working with a smaller company, there's a chance that you're not going to get the responsiveness as someone you would from SPS Commerce, which is a large company. They have the support tools, they have the people in place to support you. So that's a big thing. EDI is a complicated process, so you need to be able to have really good support behind you. Also just using too many systems. So whether you're using GP, you're using SalesPad, maybe you're using something for your inventory management and then you have a separate place for your WMS. That's not a true seamless integrated solution. So oftentimes they say we're doing too much double entry, we're jumping in and out of so many systems, which leads it to be not such an automated process. Maybe the orders come in and you manually input them, but is that really saving you any money? You're still having to manually key everything and re-enter everything in. So it's not that efficient for you as a user. And then just limited visibility. So part of SalesPad is giving you as much visibility as possible into everything, whether that be sales history, customer information, order information. By having this integrated into SalesPad, it gives you a lot of that visibility that you lack with some other systems. And then lastly, it's just expensive to maintain. So there's a lot of possible parties that you have to involve to do this EDI solution, on top of maybe having your own in-house people. We run into plenty of companies that have 5 or 6 people that are just maintaining, entering in EDI orders and processing those throughout the day, which just tends to be pretty expensive and cumbersome for your process. Now to talk a little bit more about our integration into SPS Commerce and just a little bit more background into what that's going to look like for you as a user. So some of the big key benefits that you'll see on the screen here are 0 time spent manually EDI orders. So you're no longer having to go out to a separate platform, look at what those orders are, go back into Dynamics GP or whatever system you're using and enter those in manually. Those are automatically flowing into SalesPad and through your process, and it's integrated into your SalesPad workflow. So again, for any current customers that are on this call, you're going to pre-build this into your workflow that you're already using in SalesPad. So again, very seamless, very easy if you're already a SalesPad user. This also eliminates a lot of human error. So, when you have a bunch of different systems and you're going in and out of them, that just creates more and more opportunity to have errors along the way. With this automatically coming in, you're going to get all the correct data. Workflow can flag things that are incorrect. And then, order visibility with Sales Monitor. So this, again, for a current SalesPad user, you're familiar with Sales Monitor. It's our tool to really see everywhere where your documents are throughout the system. So you're seeing that full visibility and now with your EDI orders as well, which allows you to identify any bottlenecks. So if you have a bunch of things, stuck in needing to be acknowledged, or maybe they need to be picked, those are things that you can see from Sales Monitor. And then audit trails. Again, a big part of SalesPad is having an audit log of where things are at in the process, who sent what, if a document was sent out or if it wasn't sent out, and having that visibility and audit capability to just go in there, quickly look if a customer is saying they never received a document, you can go look and cross-check that. And then lastly, just viewing error details, and we'll see that in the demo. I get an error, I need to know exactly what happened, when it happened, how am I going to fix it, and this solution allows you to do that. So why not just integrate into Dynamics GP? So obviously, as SalesPad, we're creating add-on solutions for Dynamics GP and really replacing the whole sales order processing, inventory processing. There's a lot of key reasons of why we're doing that. So why wouldn't you just find a solution that integrates into GP? A couple big reasons. Typically, with other EDI solutions, this requires a user to be in Dynamics GP, which could be costly. Dynamics GP user license is more expensive than a SalesPad license, so the less number of people you can have in GP, the more money you can save. Also, you don't have access to any workflow. GP does have some light workflow, but obviously, again, if you're familiar with SalesPad, a huge part of our solution is offering workflow that can be tailored to fit your business process. And this EDI solution is built right into that and utilizes workflow very heavily. So if you don't have SalesPad, you don't have that workflow. Also, you can't map to user fields. So as your trading partners require you have more and more data, more and more fields to pass information back and forth. GP is limited in that aspect that you only have a certain number of fields. With SalesPad, you can have an unlimited number of user-defined fields to map data to. Also in SalesPad, you can have scripting logic and save logic. So if you need to build out advanced rules or scripts or anything like that, SalesPad enables you to do that, and that's a limitation that you wouldn't have in GP. And then no SalesPad interface. Obviously, we're known for having a nice smooth interface that makes it easy for customer service, sales reps, executive level people to get into the system without having it be too clunky and cumbersome. So without you having SalesPad, you don't have that interface to use it with. So this slide highlights some of the key components of EDI and just shows you the complexity behind it. Again, I mentioned in the beginning, we've always avoided trying to be the EDI experts because there's so much involved with it, and we just didn't want to, sell ourselves short in that aspect. So first off, connectivity. So basically, how does a retailer want to connect with you? What are their requirements? And again, in EDI, you're not specifying how things work. Whoever you're selling to is telling you. So, they're determining these sort of things. So with the connectivity, again, how do they want you to connect to them? What sort of mapping? So what are their specific requirements as it relates to EDI? Translation. So how do we take that data and move it to something that we can actually consume? And then lastly is the application integration. How do I get all that information and push it into my ERP system to flow through my normal order process for my phone orders, fax orders, emails, however else I process orders? How do these come into my system where I do all of that? So with this integration and this partnership, SPS really covers the first 3 things. Takes that all out of the user's hands, so you don't have to worry about that. You don't have to manage that. You don't have to pay a bunch of different third parties to handle that for you or hire a staff to do that. SPS is covering everything. And the part where SalesPad comes in is the application integration portion. So we take everything that SPS does, they pass us the information, and we bring that into SalesPad for you to utilize. This next slide highlights a typical environment. So obviously, if you're new to the EDI game, maybe you're only selling into Walmart or Best Buy, you don't have very few documents, you might be able to maintain it. Maybe you can. Maybe you have a staff of one person that manages that. But as you start to grow and scale, it's going to get more and more complicated. You're going to add more trading partners. Ideally, you're going to try to get in with bigger retailers that require more and more requirements from you. So as you build that out, you can see how complex it can get. Multiple trading partners, multiple documents going both ways. If a partner changes, or if a trading partner changes one of their requirements, you have to know to change that and update that, which just is a lot of complexity that companies don't want on their shoulders. So allowing SPS to do all of that with their connections to the trading partners, and again, with 60,000 trading partners and as many customers as they have, chances are if a partner changes something, they're going to be the first to know about it. Make the update so it doesn't affect you at all and you don't have any downtime. So some of the key components that we're going to see when I do the demo, and not to go all these now because you're going to see all of them, but just these are some of the key things. So being able to set up your schedule, your cross-referencing, the workflow plugins, which are a huge component of the integration, general audit tracking, and then the sales monitor portion, which really gives you full visibility. So we're going to see all those things in motion. So this is an important slide. So current supported documents. Right now we have your invoice, your inventory analysis, purchase order, PO acknowledgement, and ASN, and also shipping labels already built in, already functioning in the software in SalesPad. Very soon we'll have the 940 and the 945 also completed. And this is a partnership. We intend to grow this. We intend to make this bigger and add more and more documents as they make sense. The ones that are currently on the list are ones that made sense, what most companies require to start off into EDI. So distribution companies, those are the ones they're typically using. However, there's definitely more docs that we want to support in the future, and we're already putting those on our roadmap. And then lastly, on this slide, SPS has a web forms product that you get as part of their services. So when you sign up for SPS, you get their web forms product. So if there's a document that we don't integrate with or support, maybe something you don't send very often, it's a once a week or once a month sort of document, you can always use their web forms to do that as well. So really, you should have all your bases covered. And again, we're going to continue to grow this partnership and build more and more on top of it. So the last slide I have here is just the pricing model. Just to understand, I know there's some complexities in this, can be confusing as far as who do you pay what. So initially, there's a couple different things. So there's the actual connector fee. So we've built out this connector that we resell. So there's purchasing of that, which there's a light model and a more of an advanced model that has more supported documents. And then there's initial setup fees as far as how many trading partners do you have, which documents they need to support. All of the screens that you're going to see, just setting those up for you. So there's costs in that. And then there's a monthly subscription cost to SPS Commerce. This is based on a number of factors. So it all just depends really on your fulfillment models, how many trading partners you have, transaction values, and the EDI document types. So that's something as partners, SPS and SalesPad, we will team up to give you a full proposal on one piece of paper just to make it easier so you know your full costs up front and into the future. So next on the list is going over into the actual demo. So again, this is going to be high level. I'm going to pull up a demo and just walk through some of the basic screens. Again, if you need a more advanced demo, we're happy to provide that for you, and we'll put up information on how you can get that at the end. So you should be able to see my screen now of SalesPad. The first thing I want to point out is the ribbon for EDI. So right inside of SalesPad, you have an EDI ribbon where you have all of your key sections. So your business object mapping, cross-referencing, so on and so forth. I'm not going to go too deep into each one of these, just to point out a few things, starting with server connections. So obviously, pretty straightforward. This is how you're going to be able to connect to the SPS network, something that we would set up automatically. It does have the ability to have a test mode, so you can test these before you would ever roll to production. The next thing down the line is the scheduler, which again, a key piece. This is going to give you the ability to determine when you want your EDI documents to flow into the system. So if I edit the one I have currently, you're going to see that I have this set up on a daily time frame, meaning that every day it's going to run. I have it set up to run every one day, so every single day from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. and it's running every 10 minutes. So you set this up and it automatically runs in the background. If you have a different process of maybe you want it to just run daily in the morning or at the end of the day, it's flexible. You can set up multiple different schedules if you want to. It'll show you when they were created on, when they were updated, so on and so forth. So this lets you determine exactly when those documents are automatically coming into the system. So the business object mapping screen, this is probably the most complex and where the most setup occurs. But again, it's complex, but it's a lot easier than having to manually update this yourself and know the requirements and know the mapping specifications. Through this screen, again, we would set this up with our consulting team, would go through, figure out what documents you needed supported and what trading partners require those. So as you set these up, I have my 850, my 855. As I go down the line, I also have the different documents. So in Dynamics GP and SalesPad, you can set up different types of orders, invoices. So I have an EDI specific order with its own workflow process. And you can also determine, what batch is it going to come into. When orders come in, what queue are they sitting in? And then lastly on this screen, setting up the trading partners. So which trading partners need the 850 document, which ones need the 855 to actually be integrated. And then at the bottom, as you set those up, it's automatically pulling in the SPS schema for all these. So not something you're manually having to set up at the very bottom. This can get pretty detailed. There's a lot of different fields. So it pulls in all of the default information that we have pre-wired to the SPS network. You can make changes. So if you need to edit a field or something like that, you can make changes to that. So again, this is one of the key components of the actual setup of the software when you would implement this. Next on the line is data cross-referencing. So again, a very powerful screen in terms of what it'll allow you to do and how much it can help automate everything. So on the left-hand side, I have my trading partner set up. So I have this all-cert trading partner. I have the type of EDI document that I'm referring to or that I support with them. On the right-hand side is all my cross-referencing. So if they call an address as 0020, that's what we call primary in our system. So it's just taking their data, putting it into SalesPad, and changing it to fit your model. There's also the ability to set up items. So whatever items you sell to them, they might call it X20 or X40. You call it HD20, HD40. So when that comes in, it automatically cross-references those and flips them over to be correct. There's also unit of measure. So again, maybe you call it a box, they call it a case. It does that for you. The last thing on this list is generic values, which can be pretty powerful, and it's used as really a catch-all. So anything that's listed outside of addresses, items, and unit of measures. So for instance, if they want to pass over shipping address information or payment terms, if those are fields that they need to pull through, you could set up generic values to cross-reference those as well. The EDI processing screen, this is, again, another really key one because this is where you're going to really see everything that's going in and out of the system. So any document that's gone through, you're going to see that document. So if I highlight some of these, you can see purchase order acknowledgement, purchase order. These are all of the documents going in and out with a document type. It's going to see you the order that they're associated with as well as the XML file. So if I wanted to drill in even further and view the XML file that came over, I could easily do that. What's nice about this screen is, in the instance that you get an error, so let's say something goes through and it was flagged with an error, you can actually have it give you a little flag here and it would tell you what the error was. So in this case, it was a validation error. I didn't have shipping information in that. So I could quickly go in there, fix it, resend it. So I have full visibility into where my errors were, how to fix them, less downtime, less, of your trading partners calling you and say, I didn't get this or this never came through. You can see why and who sent it and resend it if you need to. So walking through the process, so I talked a bit about Sales Monitor, and I talked about workflow and how that all functions together. So just a little bit of background. SalesPad Workflow, for those that aren't familiar with it, is the ability to set up predefined processes of how your documents move. So, the queues that are set up, whether that's they come in as a pending order, next they go into needing to be acknowledged, now they go out to the warehouse to be fulfilled, and now they go into shipping, basically setting up that process and automating it. So your users aren't having to manually do that. An order comes in, you just release it into your workflow and it hits the according steps, notifies the appropriate people whenever that's supposed to be. To bring this all together, if you take a look at Sales Monitor, again, this is sort of the portal into your business where you can see all of your documents, their current stages. If you saw back on the EDI processing screen, I had a few documents that were in. So I have, looks like a couple purchase orders that had come in and nothing since, and it shows you the order number. If I jump back over into Sales Monitor and search for one of those, so ED1050, I'm just going to highlight how my workflow is set up to automate this and automate everything that goes throughout the process. And let's actually pick a different one that is in the order acknowledgement stage. So you can see here, I see all of my queues on the left-hand side. If I'm only responsible for anything that needs acknowledgement, I could only have that one highlighted. So if I go into this, so let's just select ED1052. I could take all of these at one time and forward them through their appropriate step in workflow instead of manually. Obviously, as a PO comes in, you might want to look at it and see if you can send the acknowledgement or if you need to reject it. So I'm going to open this up EDI1052, and pull open the order. A few things, so this was created using SPS Commerce, and if I go into this audit record, it will actually show that. So it shows automatically that this was created using SPS Commerce. It shows that in the audit trail, it shows the user, everything like that, that pulled it in. Shows the original PO number that was sent over from your trading partner as well. A few things to point out. So I mentioned the workflow plugins that we have. You can see at the very top of this order we have the advanced ship notice, the invoice once you get to that point, order acknowledgement. You can prohibit the use of these as you go from stage to stage. So in this particular case, I can send out the order acknowledgement in a couple of ways. So the easiest way to do it is to have it automatically send out, to push that out through your workflow, but obviously you can do it manually if you need to send it through your process. So again, I'm going to go back and just refresh this and grab one that's currently sitting in order acknowledgement and just walk it through the process. So I'm going to pull up this last one here. So this comes in, and you can see through my workflow I have an approve button. So I could click approve and it would automatically send that. I also have the option of manually opening the order acknowledgement. I can see the details. In this case, it's automatically accepting it. However, if I needed to reject that, I could reject it with details or without details. Basically, do I want to send them just header level information of, hey, this was rejected, or the line level detail of this was the line that was rejected in particular. Again, that's the manual way to do it if you need to reject it. Ideally, when things come through, you can approve them and have it automatically go through your system. In my particular scenario, my workflow is set up that it automatically comes in and goes right into needs acknowledgement when it comes from SPS Commerce. Somebody's going to monitor this and they're going to open it up and they're going to say everything looks good. I want to approve this. This is EDI1054. So it's going to go ahead and approve it. And if I go back, once it goes through the approval process, it's going to move it into ready to pick because that's my next step. If I go back into my sales monitor and I search for EDI1054 and refresh this, you can see it's currently in needs acknowledgement, but once I refresh this, it's going to move it into ready to pick. And once I open this document and go back into my audit trail, you'll see once I approved that, it automatically sent out that 855, the purchase order acknowledgement. So my user didn't have to do that. There was no intervention. I didn't have to jump out into a separate system to handle that. They could just come in here and do it. And also I can see who approved it. So I see that Tom approved it in this case. So you can set all of these plugins to hit in certain steps in your workflow. So for example, once it gets to the point where it's being picked, it could go to shipping next. And once it's been shipped, you can send out your ASN. So next on the list, if you take a look at the screen, I'm going to go to an order that I already have queued up. So it's already gone through the process. You can see it's sitting in the shipping batch right now. If I ship this, again, I could automatically send out that ASN. However, if I go into the package screen, you can see here that we can actually custom build out your packages. So if you have multiple different items, you can create new packages, delete packages, and then add those specific items in there. So it's very, very easy to do that. And all you have to do is put in your shipping header information. So your carrier code, your bill of lading, your pro number. And what that's going to do, it's going to call the SPS label API and pull those in. We use their label API because all your trading partners are going to have different requirements as far as what they're requiring you to have on their labels. They're going to have their different formats. And SPS already has that all configured and we're wired to that network. So you can receive those and then you can send those out through the integration. So again, as all of these things are happening, if I jump back to my processing screen, really it's just a place to see where everything is happening. I can go into here and see from that order I sent a minute ago, I sent out a purchase order acknowledgement. Again, if there would have been an error, I could have saw that error and I could have caught it and fixed it if I needed to. So the invoice, I don't really need to show the same thing. So with invoicing, you could have a workflow set up where at a certain point, whether it's ready to email the invoice or something like that, you could automatically have that 810 go out to your trading partner. The last thing that I want to show as far as the demo goes is the inventory analysis function. So if I back out of a couple of screens here and go into the inventory lookup in SalesPad, so I'll be able to see the plugin at the very top. So I have this 846 document. So if I click on this, what this basically allows me to do, so the inventory analysis allows me to send inventory information out to my trading partner. So if they want to look at how many you have in stock of a certain item, you're able to send this out. And back to the cross-referencing screen, whenever you set up your trading partners, you set up which items they're buying for you. So when AllCert needs something from us, Aaron Fitz Electrical, I can send them their particular list. So jumping back into this and clicking on this, it basically allows you to have a drop down and pick your trading partners. Again, I have this one set up, but you could have all of your trading partners in here because they all might require different item numbers and different information. So what you do with this is you select it and then you would export this into Excel. And I actually already have one queued up. So if I go down to this Excel file, it's got a predefined template. You can decide which fields you're going to pull over and everything like that. And then this is pulling in those items that are set up in the cross-reference screen. What's nice with the functionality and how it works with Excel is in Excel you can set up different formulas. So, how is this set up? Maybe in certain, for an Aaron Fitz, we only want to send them about 10% of what we actually have on hand. We don't want to show everybody what we have on hand because we might order out of everything and that would cause a big problem. So as part of Excel, you can create templates, and then every time you export, so you could create an Aaron Fitz Electrical or a Walmart, Best Buy, however you want to create those templates and export them, and then you could have that data. Once that's done, jumping back into SalesPad, from this, you can import and send that. So it would import the information that you'd have that would show just the available item information for that particular trading partner and send that out through the EDI integration. Again, it would all show up in that processing screen. Again, I mentioned these are the supported docs we have right now. So we have the 810, the 850, 855, 846, and then also we have the shipping labels, but coming soon are the 940, 945, and then multiple docs down the line. There's been discussions of the outbound 850, the 860, the 820. There's several of them that we eventually want to add. This just highlights most of them. And again, highlighting some of the key features, it's automatically having everything go through your workflow and having very minimal user intervention. So I don't have to go in each time, open a separate website or application and do all of these transactions. It allows my users to just forward things as I normally would through my workflow process, from orders coming in the door to going out the warehouse and being shipped, with having all those EDI transactions happen. And you can set it up if you want people to intervene. You can definitely set that up throughout your workflow. So that basically covers the EDI integration with SPS. Again, we can get into a more detailed demo if you want to get into the weeds a little bit more. And if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to us in a couple of different ways. You can email sales@salespad.net, or at the end of this we'll pull up our territory map so you can see the sales rep that would be associated with your state. Contact them, set up a more in-depth demo. And again, if you'd rather just reach out to sales@salespad.net, we'll make sure to get all your questions answered. Another shout out to the question box. Please type your questions in. I'm going to hang out for about 10 minutes after this to go through that, answer all the questions that you have. And then if we can't get to all of them, feel free again to shoot those into the email that I provided as well. So again, thank you everybody for attending the webinar. Please let us know if you have any questions. Have a great day.